Chapter 2, Lesson 3. Please pause for the homework check and upload it on Classroom. Chapter 2, Lesson 3 is formulas and problem solving. So here are some formulas we're going to need for this section. The words got a little cramped there. Okay, so the first one there that you can hardly kind of read is it says simple interest. And so for simple interest here, I have that simple interest equals P is the principal, and that is the money invested. R is your rate, and that's going to be given as a percent, but it's going to be changed into a decimal. And then for time, the time is going to be in years. So if we had something that said like over 6 months, we'd have to change that into half a year. Another formula we're going to need for this section is the formula for speed. And we have D equals R times T. Distance equals rate. Usually that's like your miles per hour times time, and that's hours. We need a formula for compound interest. So compound interest is when at any given time the bank is multiplying your money by a percent and you're making money every day, every month, every year, or whatever they tell you. And so this one I have a note to rewrite it here because it gets kind of weird. So we have the principal again, P is for principal, times 1 plus your rate, and remember that needs to be a decimal, divided by N, and then you see up here in the parentheses, it's N also. This is your number of compounded. And we're going to take notes about that right down here with those. Times time, and time again is years. So some of these compounded words here are the ones that you'll be seeing. If it says compounded annually, that would be 1. Compounded quarterly is 4 times per year. Semi-annually is twice. Monthly is 12. We might also see weekly, which is 52, or daily, which is 365. Okay, so those are the formulas that we're going to need when we get down to our word problems. The other thing we're going to be doing is I can solve for a specific variable in an equation. Just going to move this up. So when you actually go to look at the PowerPoint, it'll be not pushed together. Okay, so this first one says solve, and it's V equals LWH, and it wants us to solve for H. So remember in Algebra 1, we've done this previously, and I told you that whatever they want you to solve for, I underlined it. So I'm going to underline it in the problem, and what I want to get by itself is the H. So I ask myself, what is happening to the H right here? Well, the H is being timesed by W and L. So the opposite of that would be to divide by W and L. So these would cross out, and I would be left with V divided by LW equals H. And now H is by itself. Number 2, solve I equals PRT for T. And again, I underline what they want me to solve for. It's kind of just like our last one. If I ask myself what's happening to T, it's being multiplied by P and R. So the opposite would be to divide both sides by P and R. Those will cross out. And so my final equation for number 2 is going to be I divided by PR equals T. On the third one, I have 3y minus 2x equals 7 for y. This one has a couple steps here. So if I run through my list of solving, number 1, distribute, there's none. Number 2, combine like terms, there's none. So 3 is add or subtract. Again, I'm trying to get y by itself, so I need to move the 2x over here. So that would give me 3y, and I'm going to keep it underlined, equals 7 plus 2x. Then the fourth step of solving is multiply or divide. I look at the y, right now it's being timesed by 3, so the opposite is divide by 3 on both sides. And so my final equation for number 3 would be y equals 7 plus 2x, all divided by 3. Example 4 has a equals 0.5, parenthesis, capital B plus lowercase b times h, and they want me to solve for b, lowercase. Well, the first thing I'm going to notice is that outside of the parentheses here, I have times 0.5 and times h. And so in order to get rid of those both, I'm going to divide by 0.5h on both sides. So these will cancel out and those will cancel out. And so I'm left with a over 0.5h equals big B plus lower b. And again, I underline the lowercase b. I'm trying to get it by itself. It's being added to big B right now, so I'm going to subtract big B from both sides. And so my final answer is going to be a divided by 0.5h minus big B equals little b. On number 5, I have a equals p times rt plus p, and I'm trying to solve for p. Now notice I have p in both sides of my binomial on the right. And so the first thing I'm going to have to do, and I have a little clue here, it says use distributive property to start. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to factor out, using my Algebra 1 skills, the p from PRT, and then if I divide out the p on the other p that stands alone, I'd be left with 1. And now I can check my work to make sure I undistributed correctly. So that would give me PRT plus p. So I did it right. Now it makes it a simple problem. I need to divide by all of this. RT plus 1. So to get p by itself, I took a divided by all of that parenthesis. Okay, so for the second part, we're going to be using those formulas that we took notes on at the beginning. Compounded interest, speed. Karen just received an inheritance of $10,000 and plans to place all of the money in a savings account that pays 5%, compounded quarterly to help her son go to college in 3 years. I'm just underlining all of the important information. How much money will be in the account in 5 years? So you don't have to scroll back up. Here is our formula. So it wants to know how much money in the account. So I'm going to start with account equals. My principal is my money I inherited here, so 10,000. And then I have 1 plus. My R is my rate, and it needs to be as a decimal. So 5% as a decimal is 0.05. And then my N goes in 2 places. It goes down here and above, and it's quarterly, which is 4 times per year. And then up here it gets multiplied by my time, which is 3. And when I put that in my calculator, 10,000 plus 0.05 divided by 4 to the 4 times 3. I get $11,607.54. Russ placed $8,000 into his credit union at 6% semi-annually. How much in his account in 4 years? So I'm using the same formula from up above, this one right here. So I start with my count equals 8,000, 1 plus 6% as a decimal is 0.06. Then I need n twice, and that's my compounded. For my notes, semi-annually is 2 times per year. And 4 years for my time. 0.06 divided by 2 to the 2 times 4 is 10,134.16. Okay, now we're using our speed. The fastest average speed by a cyclist across the continental U.S. is 15.4 miles per hour. It's my rate. If he traveled a total distance of 3,108.5 miles at the speed, find his time. And then after we do that, write the time in days, hours, and minutes. Okay, so we'll start with our distance is 3,108.5. And my rate is 15.4 times time. Divide each side by 15.4. And my time is 20.16 hours. So that's not even a full day. So I know for sure it's 20 full hours. And then I need to figure out how much of an hour is 0.16. So I do 0.16 of means multiply. And how many minutes are in an hour is 60. 9.6 minutes. Oh, I didn't think that did right. Darn it, now we have to go back. When I typed it in, I only typed in 310.5. I forgot the 8. So let's go back. You guys probably watching the video already knew I had messed that up. So let's erase this part here. We're still going to do that, but I'll erase it and do that again in a minute. Come on, erase. Did not check my calculator when I was typing it in. So how about when we take 3108.5 divided by 15, we get 201.85 hours. So now it will be a couple days. So I'm going to divide it by 24 to figure out how many whole days he was traveling. And so I'm going to divide this by 24. I get 8.4 days. So then I need to figure out how many hours is 0.4 of 24. 9.6. So I have so far 8 full days, 9 full hours, and then I need to figure out how much is 0.6 to change it to minutes. 36 minutes. Nearly 4,800 cyclists rode in the Pan Massachusetts Challenge recently to raise money for cancer research. If the riders of a certain team traveled their 192 route at an average speed of 7.5 miles per hour, find the time they spent cycling. So there's my distance, there's my time, or my speed. So I have 192 equals 7.5 times my time. 992 divided by 7.5. Make sure I type it in right this time. 25.6 hours. So we know it's 25 full hours. And we need to change 0.6 into minutes, times it by 60, which is 36. And there you go for your homework.